class.
Hi everyone, welcome. Today we're going to make a hand knit fluffy bunny pillow and it's adorable. It's a one skein project, so you should be able to get it done with one skein. If you have two, if you want to make it larger, you can. So I'll show you where in the pattern you can keep going if you want to make something bigger or if you want to make something smaller. But I'm very excited to make this fluffy pillow. It's adorable. It's all hand knit and it's hand knit in the round. And then we just add on these two little ears. And if you want a bunny tail or if you want a bunny nose or whatever you want to call it, you can add that on too. So I'm really excited to show you how to make this. I do have a pattern available, so we'll throw that into the chat. This is just a handwritten pattern to kind of follow along with me. I also have this pattern on Learn with Michaels and 4M Coleman, which is my own personal Instagram. So there's a couple of things like when you're learning how to do chain stitches and when you're learning how to do slip knots, if you're struggling with those two basic skills at the beginning, then I have a couple of video tutorials also available on 4M Coleman for you to kind of watch and keep up with that part. So the hardest part sometimes is starting with that slip knot and with those basic chains. And once you get the hang of it, this is a project that can definitely be done in an hour or an hour and a half. And I recommend that you start with a skein of yarn. So I'm going to switch over here and I'm going to show you what kind of yarn I'm using. So the yarn that I like to use is there's a fluffy chenille from Loops and Threads. And when you're looking for your yarn, you're always looking to see the weight of it. And the weight of this yarn is a 7, a jumbo 7. So it's really thick. The chenille is awesome. I made this white bunny. It is so soft and so fluffy, but my only caution to you is that if if you've never tried to hand knit before, it can be really hard to see the stitches with the fluffy chenille. So you might want to start with something different, like a cozy blanket, which is a Loops and Threads product, or you might want to start with a Bernat blanket big. And these Bernat blanket bigs are very good for beginners because you can see the stitches a lot better. So the fluffy chenille makes a perfect bunny and it's so super soft and fluffy and it's absolutely adorable. But if you're beginning, you might want to start out with one of these more beginner yarns because it's going to be easier for you to see what you're doing and pull all the correct stitches. So there is a handout in the chat that shows this pattern, and I'm going to keep going back and forth to this pattern and show you as we go also. But if you have a skein of yarn, if you have scissors, and if you want to make a fluffy bunny tail, then you're going to need a smaller weighted yarn. Something like Michael's Loops and Thread Impeccable yarn is a good yarn. A little piece of cardboard, or if you actually own a pom-pom maker, you can make that pom-pom to make that fluffy bunny tail or fluffy bunny nose. So we are going to start today by making 2 ears. So on this pattern, we're going to start with a slip knot. We're going to chain 6. We're going to stitch 6. We're going to pull double loops, and then we're going to do a finishing stitch to create 1 ear. And we're going to do that whole sequence twice to make both of the ears before we move on to do the head of the bunny. So if you have any questions or if you need a hand, please let me know in the chat and I will try and answer all the questions that I can. And I'm excited to make this with you. So let's go ahead and begin with the slip knot. Whenever you have a skein of yarn, you have what's called the tail and you have what's called the working yarn, which is attached to the skein. So what you're going to do to make a slip knot is you're going to point a couple of fingers towards yourself and you're going to drape the yarn so that the working yarn is on the left and the tail is on the right. Then I'm going to grab with my other hand and I'm going to hold on to the tail and the working yarn. And the goal is to twist this yarn on top of this yarn. So I'm going to twist my fingers backwards in order to get this yarn to go on top of this yarn by twisting. And now that this yarn is on top of the other yarn, you're going to grab with your pincher fingers a little bit of the working yarn and pull it through. And when you pull on the tails and pull on the loop, you're going to create something called a slip knot that's going to slip up and down in order to make a different size knot. So I will show that again. I have fingers pointing towards myself. I'm draping the yarn so that I have a tail on the right side, working yarn on the left side. I'm going to twist the yarn. So I'm twisting away from me, counterclockwise. I'm going to grab some of this working yarn and I'm going to pull the working yarn through the loop, and I've created a slip knot. So I'm going to show the slip knot. I'm going to show some chain stitches. We're going to make the first ear, and then I will go back and do this again when we're making the second ear. So if you're having a hard time with the slip knot, I'm about to show it again when we start the second ear. So if you're with me so far, we have a slip knot, we have a tail, and you can slip this knot up and down along your working yarn, and you want to slip the knot so that you have about 3 fingers that can fit through. So slip the knot or make it tighter so that you can fit about 3 fingers through this loop. And now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 6. So the way that you do a chain stitch when you're working with this big fluffy yarn is you take your pincher fingers and you grab some of the working yarn and you pull it through that loop to create a second loop. And that's 1 stitch. Then you go through the new stitch with 3 fingers, grab some of the working yarn and pull it through to make the next stitch. Go through the new one, grab some working yarn, pull it through, grab some working yarn, pull it through, and you're going to do this in order to chain 6. So I'm going to start again to show you again, but if you got it, keep going, and you're going to chain 6. I'm starting with where I was with my slip knot, making sure that my slip knot has about 3 fingers that fit through, pulling some of the working yarn with my pincher fingers and pulling it through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if you want your ear to be longer, or if you plan on making a bigger pillow, you can chain more than 6. But the size 6 works pretty nicely for the size face that we're going to make for an ear. So we have 6 chains so far. We have our working yarn, we have this last loop, and you can see, I want to kind of point this out, that each one of these V's makes up a stitch. So you can count how many of those V's you have to make sure that you have enough stitches, or you can pull it out and count as you go, whichever works for you. But now that we have these 6 stitches, I'm going to flip my chain. And the reason why I'm flipping my chain is because right now my working yarn is going down towards the table. But when I flip my chain, the working yarn is now coming up towards me. So make your chain, lay it on a table or something flat, and get your working yarn to be coming up towards you. I have this loop on the end that I'm going to leave alone. I'm not going to do anything to it. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. This very first one is this very first one on the side is my 6th stitch. So I'm about to pull a loop through each one of these top stitches. So hopefully you can kind of see that top curve along each one of your stitches. And again, if you're using the Chenille, it's kind of hard to see these stitches, so that might be tough at first. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this first stitch with my pincher fingers. I'm going to leave this one that's kind of like a thumb. I'm going to leave that one alone. And I'm going to pull a stitch through here. So I have this one still. I have this new one. I'm going to pull a stitch through each one of these. And now counting this thumb stitch at the very beginning, I have 6 loops again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then what I'm going to do, this is the last part of this ear, and then I'm going to repeat this ear process again to make another one, is I'm going to go this way. I'm going to stitch, and this time I'm going to stitch double loops going to the right. And what I mean by double loops is I'm going to pull loops that are 2 times as big as the loops that I have hanging out right here. So here's my working yarn. It's going kind of underneath my project, and I'm going to use my pincher fingers, and I'm going to pull the loops double the length. See how that's a lot longer than the ones I was pulling last time through each one of these 6 loops. 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, so I have 6 stitches, and these loops are double the length of the loops that I pulled on the last round. And the reason why these are double the length is because if you've ever made one of these chunky blankets before, the very last row of your chunky blanket, you pull the loops double the length because you're going to go back and make a top stitch to kind of finish off the whole thing. So now that I have these big fluffy loops, here's where my working yarn is. It ends over here. So you're going to start on the side that does not have your working yarn, and you're going to grab this first loop and put your fingers through. And you're going to grab the loop next to it with your pinchers and pull that loop through. Then you put your fingers into this new loop in order to grab the next loop. Put your fingers through, grab the next loop, pull it through. Put your fingers through and grab the next loop. And put your fingers through and grab the last loop. So we've stitched across those stitches, and we're right here at this end with this loop, and it gives it a kind of fun extra dimension. And this is also going to keep your ear, if you want your ear to stand up, you could always add a little bit of wire, but this top stitch is also going to give it less floppiness if you don't want your ear to flop, because it's pretty sturdy. And the way that we're going to finish this off is I'm going to cut a tail, and I think my tail is going to be about 6 inches or so. The reason why is because I'm going to use this later on to stitch into the pillow to be able to attach the ear to the bunny's head. So I have, on my last loop, I've cut a tail of about 6 inches, and I'm going to take this last bit and go through that loop and pull it carefully and tightly to finish that ear off. Now I like to go through another loop and kind of make another half double knot of some sort to just kind of give it some extra protection. And then you're welcome to either cut this off or you can weave it in. I'm going to leave both of my tails right now because I'm going to decide later which side I want to attach to the head of the bunny. So I'm going to leave both of these tails, and my first ear on my pattern is finished. And we're about to start this whole process again. So if you didn't quite get it that time, you might be able to get it this time. But when we make this ear, we're going to start with a slip knot. We're going to chain 6. We're going to stitch those 6. And then we're going to make double loops going to the right to create that finishing stitch to make our ear. So here we go again. Let me know in the chat if you're doing okay. If you have any questions, I can go over some more things. Right now, what I have is a slip knot. So I'm starting with fingers towards myself, and I drape over the yarn. Okay, is the slip stitch your first chain? The first loop you pull is going to be your first chain, so not counting the slip stitch. And then someone asked about getting lost at the double loop. And the double loop at the very end, you're using those loops to grab the next loop and grab the next loop and grab the next loop to do that finishing off thing. So I am going to go again and do this whole ear again, and hopefully you'll be able to catch it. So slip knot, fingers towards me. Here's my tail. Here's my working yarn. I'm grabbing the tail and the working yarn with my left hand. I'm going to twist the yarn around. Use my pinchers, grab the working yarn, and pull it through in order to create my slip knot. The knot should slip up and down. I'll show the slip knot one more time. Drape it over. Hold with both hands, with your left hand, hold both the tail and the working yarn. Twist the yarn, grab the working yarn, and pull it through. The other side of my ear looks like this. So these horizontal stitches are what we call purl stitches. And the V-shaped stitches are what we call knit stitches. So you can see both of those on your ear. And you can decide later which side of the ears you want to flop over. So making our second ear, so far we have a slip knot, and we're about to chain 6. So when you chain, you go through, make sure that your slip knot is about 3 fingers wide. You're going to go through and pull some of the working yarn and pull it through to create a new loop. Go through that new loop. So that was 1. Here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have a chain of 6, and I like to call this last loop kind of like a thumb. And then right here, when we're about to stitch going in this direction, the 6 stitches going towards the left, I need to flip my chain over because right now you need to double check and see, is your working yarn coming out towards you, or is your working yarn going down towards the table? And if your working out yarn is coming up towards you, you're ready to go. You leave the first stitch alone, the thumb stitch, and then you're going to pull 5 other stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So counting that first thumb loop, you have 6 loops now. I'm going to go back through with my working yarn. I'm going to kind of line up the working yarn underneath my project. And I'm going to go through each one of these 6 stitches, including this thumb one, and I'm going to pull double the length the loops I did this previous round. So double the length loops. My loops are 2 times bigger, or about 2 times bigger than the ones I just pulled. And I'm going to pull 6 of those loops. 3, 4, 5. And this thumb comes up into the row with it to make 6. So I have 6 loops that are about double the length of the loops I pulled last time. And I'm making these loops a little bit larger on purpose because I'm about to do a finishing stitch across the top. And I need them to be a little bit longer because the stitches are going to lay down instead of keep building out. So here's my working yarn right here on the right-hand side. I'm going to go to the first loop on the left-hand side, opposite of the working yarn, putting my fingers through, and I'm going to grab this first loop and pull it through. Then I should be able to get my fingers through the new loop in order to grab the next loop and pull it through. Grab the next loop, pull it through. So you're switching each time. Each time you grab, you're putting your fingers into the new loop in order to grab the next one. And you go all the way across, and you have this nice top stitch here. It's kind of giving your bunny ear some extra texture and some extra sturdiness. And then you're going to cut about 6 inches of tail. And with that very last loop, you're going to go through the very last loop with the tail and pull it pretty tight to finish that up. And then I like to go through another stitch and do another half double knot, half square knot, just to make sure that I feel like it's good and secure. At this point, I'm going to leave both of the tails because, again, I'm going to kind of decide later on which side I want to weave into the bunny's face. But that's it for the 2 ears. Questions on the 2 ears before we move on to the face? I know it can be rough doing it the very first time, so you might need to watch the video again. But if you need a hand, let me know and I'll try and help you and answer another question. We're gonna start the face of the bunny next. You will have access to the video on YouTube afterwards. So 1 ear is better than no ears. Congratulations on your first ear. I'm kind of reading through the chat and seeing where everybody is. I'm gonna make the bunny's face. I will at the very end of the class, when we have some extra time, I'll go back. So I'll try and help you out if you didn't make both of your ears. If you only made one ear, we'll come back at the end and try and make the second ear also. So what we're about to do for the bunny's face is we're going to leave a longer tail. And the reason why we're leaving a longer tail is because we're going to do some hand knit stitches that go out in a circular pattern. They're in the round. And then it's going to leave a hole right here. And you're going to make kind of like a drawstring to pull this hole closed. So when we stitch our 10 stitches, we make a circle that's kind of open, and we'll make a drawstring with the tail in order to kind of cinch that together and pull that all closed and seal it off nicely. And then we're going to go to the other side. So we're going to build the pillow out, and then we're going to build the pillow back in, and it makes this really nice round poof. You can make it as round as you want, but I really like what it's doing right here. So I like just a little bit of fluff to give it still that oval poof rather than an actual ball. Okay. It is fine if you've only made one ear. It is absolutely fine to keep using the same skein for the face, and then we're going to come back and do one more ear. If you do have 32 yards, so if you have either cozy blanket, it's 32 yards, or if you have the big Bernat blanket, it's also 32 yards. If you have the fluffy Chenille, it's a little bit less because it's a nicer fabric, so it's 23 yards. You should still be able to get 2 ears and the whole bunny face made out of 23 yards. But if you run out a little bit, you can always add on. All right, so we're about to do a 12-inch tail. So what I mean by that is before we do the slip knot for the face, you're gonna I'm gonna put these ears to the side for now. And we're on the bunny face. So before I do my slip knot, I'm gonna do my slip knot further down so that I have a longer tail. So my fingers are pointing towards myself. I have this longer tail on the right-hand side. I have the working yarn on the left-hand side. I'm gonna take my left hand and grab both of those, the tail and the working yarn. I'm going to twist my fingers backwards so that this yarn crosses on top of the other, so that the yarn crosses. And then I'm going to reach in with my pincher fingers and grab some working yarn in order to create that slip knot. I'm going to show that one more time. So I have a much longer tail this time. So I have a lot of tail on the right-hand side and my working yarn on the other side. My fingers are facing towards me. I'm going to twist my fingers away from me in order for this yarn to cross. And then I'm going to take my pincher fingers and I'm going to grab the working yarn and pull it through. And I'm pulling on the loop and I'm pulling on the tail in the working yarn in order to kind of get that slip knot to appear, and make sure that that slip knot really is a slip knot and that it slips up and down the working yarn. You're going to want your slip knot to be about 3 fingers wide again. So push up the slip knot so that it's not super, super big. Push it so that it's about 3 fingers wide. And after we have our slip knot, the next step is going to be to chain 10 stitches. So each time you pull yarn through your loop, that counts as 1 chain, and we're going to chain to 10. So I'm going to pull a new loop through 1, pinchers in, pull some more, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So you're going to want a chain of 10. Ends up being a little bit longer than our bunny ears were. So we made a slip knot, we left a pretty long tail. We made a chain of 10 just by pulling a little bit of the working yarn through each one of those new loops. And now what we're going to do is we're going to join this together to make a circle, because this is going to be the base of where the bunny nose or bunny tail goes. It's going to build out and then we're going to build it back in to make the other side of the pillow. So I have my 10 stitches and my longer tail. The longer tail is going to go through the last remaining stitch in order to make a circle. And I'm also going to pull on the working yarn to make that last loop a little bit tighter around the tail I just pulled. So I had my chain of 10. Take this back a step, show you again. I had my chain of 10. Slip knot with a long tail. Made sure that it's 3 fingers. Pulled 10 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And once I had those 10 chains, I took the long tail and put it through the last loop to kind of make a round circle. And then I'm pulling on the working yarn in order to kind of tighten around the tail so that that last stitch kind of holds on to the tail. And now I have what almost looks like a headband. It's a nice round thing with all the different stitches. And what we're going to do next is we're going to be stitching in the round. So I'm going to put it on my flat table. And what I'm going to do, since I was going in this direction, I'm going to keep going in this direction. And you see the tops of each one of these stitches. If you're using one of these yarns, it's so much easier to see the tops of your stitches than the Chenille, but the Chenille is fluffy, so there's payoffs on both sides. But I'm going to pull 10 loops through. So I'm going to pull 1, go to the next top, 2, and notice how I'm pulling towards me and then laying it over. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So make sure that you have 10 loops wherever you can fit them. And they kind of, when you pull them towards you and then lay them down, it kind of flowers out. So you can see how we're going to build that circle for the bunny's face by continuing to make more and more of these circular stitches. So I have 10, and the tail reminds me that that was the end of that round, but counting also helps me remember when I'm at the end of the round. So what we're going to do now that we have joined our chain stitches, you're going to stitch 5 rounds of 10. So I have 1 round so far with my original chain stitch and then 1 round. I'm going to do 4 more rounds to kind of build it out. And I'm going to lay these loops down and kind of let it keep flowering out. And then we're going to take the stitches and we're going to flower them back in order to close up the pillow. So I started to the left of where my slip knot and my tail joined. But it's okay since it's round to start in a different place and you'll probably still end up okay. So here again is my tail that marked the end of my first round. And here was my last stitch I just pulled. And I'm going to keep my working yarn kind of underneath my project as I go and let my tail kind of fly. And I'm going to pull up loops and drop them over. So pull up towards me and lay them down. Pull up towards me and lay them down. And I'm going to count and make sure I do 10 of them. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we just finished round 2. Sometimes I like to keep track of my rounds. I've done 2 rounds so far. And I'm going to do 5 rounds total. So I'm back to where my tail is. And I'm noticing that my loops, I'm laying them down nicely. And I'm going to keep going and build out going around 10. So here comes my next 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I'm back to where my tail is, and I've just finished round 3. So I'm going to do round 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm back to my tail, and I finished that round. So I've just done 4 rounds, and I'm going to do 1 more round to make the 5 before we start going back in. Okay, last round going around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm back to where I started, and there's my tail again. Okay. So I've done 5 rounds, and I built out my circle. And now I'm about to do 5 rounds to build back in, which is basically the top of the pillow. You are going to have a strange gap, and you're definitely going to have a strange gap in the middle. But on the side, it's okay that these stitches are a little bit looser. They need it to be in order to build out. And even on my bunny, you might be able to tell that some of the stitches on the outside are much bigger than the stitches that come on the inside. And that's okay too, because you're just building out and you really can't see any of the stuffing, even though the stitches are bigger. So I think that that still works just fine. This side, you'll notice your knit stitches. You'll notice these V's that are radiating out from the center. But if you flip it over, you'll notice that you have purl stitches. So it looks very different on the bottom, and it has all these horizontal stitches that are called the purl stitches. So you want your knit stitches, I think most of us would want our knit stitches to be on the outside of the bunny so that you can see those nice lines coming towards the middle. So what we're going to do at this point is we're going to flip the whole entire project over, because then we're going to start building back in. So the purl stitches are going to be on the inside, and the knit stitches are going to be on the outside. So if you have your blanket like this that you just finished with your knit stitches coming out, flip the whole entire thing over. You have this tail. I'm going to go ahead and kind of put the tail in the center where it's going to be. And then we're about to stitch 5 rounds going back in. So Nancy asked, what was that question in the chat? 13 loops. It's okay if you end up with 13, you can still work with that. And what does it mean to join on the handout? Join was when we attached the 10 stitches together. We joined it into a circle. That's what join means. And then we stitched 5 rounds going out, and we're about to stitch 5 rounds going back in. So I'm still going in the same direction. And you'll notice that these knit stitches are kind of loose, or these purl stitches are kind of loose, but you're going to want to find the loops, which are going to be at the top of each one of these little purl stitches. And I'll show you, if one slips out, I'll show you how to find it. Let me check the chat again. I think there might be another question. Okay, so I am now go around, and I'm going to pull stitches again. And I'm going to match this purl stitch. So I'm going to pull out. So I'm going to the next stitch, the next loop, and I'm matching this purl stitch, and I'm pushing the loop out. And eventually I'm going to be holding these in, because this is going to round back in. So this is the side you should be on. This is the side you should not be on. If you can see these really nice lines radiating from the center, you want to flip it. And if you see these patterns that are more horizontal, that's the side that we're working on right now. And I put the tail in here for now. Okay, so I'm going around and I'm pushing the chains, I'm pushing the loops out. And I'm going to push the loop out. And this is round 1 going around. And if you see something like this, where this is loose, it just means that it popped out of this stitch. So you can put it back through that stitch before you stitch a new one. And we're starting to make the stitches tighter again on purpose because they got very loose going out. And now we're about to go back in. I see in the chat that some people can't wait to see this video, which we will try and get it out to you as soon as possible. I know it's nice to be able to rewind and really go back, especially if you get stuck somewhere. So we'll get that to you as soon as we possibly can. And I need to check if I'm on 10 or not with that round. So I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I just did 1 round coming back in. And this time when I do this round, I'm going to purposely be pulling these towards the center because I want the shape of my pillow to come back. So I'm going to be holding these up. And when I pull the stitch, instead of pulling the stitch out and laying it down, I'm going to try and pull it towards the center. And what I'm doing by pulling it towards the center is I'm making this gap smaller and I'm making the stitches a little bit tighter so that it knows to start coming back towards this. So I have 2 so far, 3, and I'm laying it in. I'm pulling it in instead of pulling it out. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And again, if this is just like a loose dangling thing, that just meant it fell out. So you can put it back in before you do your next stitch. It's just a stitch that accidentally fell out. 7. I lost track. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. I think I just did my round 2. I'm going to count next time to make sure that I'm doing it. So I'm going to go around again to do round 3, and I'm going to do 10 stitches, and I'm going to keep pulling them closer towards the center, which is naturally going to make my stitches smaller. And so I can bunch this all up. So I'm going from the inside and I'm pulling the loop towards the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This one's trying to fall out, but I got it. 10.
Hey, Megan, really quick, just keep going. I just
Sure.
want those to know that those who may seem like they're behind, give yourself some grace. Just know that this video is being recorded, so you are able to go back, pause, and rewind as much as you can, because we know that this may be a new project for you.
Yep.
So please don't get upset with yourself. We only have an hour for this class, so unfortunately, Megan has to try to fit everything in within this hour. So please go back, watch the video, the recording, and just stop and pause, rewind as often as you need.
There we go. So I just completed round 4. And then I'm going to go ahead and complete round 5. And then we're ready already to wrap up our bunny face. So we are doing well. And I'm going to pull one last round to make it fit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And now that I've finished all 5 of my rounds, I am going to use a drawstring to close it up. And I'll show you what I mean by that.
Hey, Megan, really quick.
Sure.
Um, do is this project just good enough for one skein or do they need
Yes.
multiple?
You
Okay,
should be able to finish it in one skein.
thank you.
Yeah. So I've just cut a tail that's again about 12 inches, maybe a little bit longer. Yeah, I'm seeing people in the chat. If you've never done any hand knitting in the round like this is a lot more complicated than a hand knitting flat. So maybe Felicia too, if you don't mind finding the chunky blanket video that we made the other day, we can throw that in the chat for you too. It'll have the same basic stitches of how to learn how to chain, but chain flat. And then how to pull all your stitches while they're flat, because the round thing does add a little extra element of difficulty. You're absolutely right. So I've just finished my 5 rounds. I built out, I built back in, and now I'm about to make what I call a drawstring. So with my longer tail, I'm going to go through the last loop to kind of seal it off and secure it and pull it. And then I'm going to take each one of these loops that I've kind of let come here at the top of my, almost like a basket. I'm going to take the tail and I'm going to go through each one of these loops. And I'm going from the outside, pulling it out, or I'm coming from the inside and going out through each one of these. And what I'm doing is I'm creating like a drawstring right here. So I am going from the inside out through each one of these 10 loops at the top, creating what I like to call a drawstring from the inside out, from the inside out. There we go. Here we go. And I can go ahead and pull on this drawstring, pull it carefully because sometimes this yarn can snap. I'm going to pull on this drawstring and you can see how it seals up your circle. And you can't really see that big gap we had at the beginning. So by pulling on that drawstring after you've gone through the top of all 10 of those, just go ahead and pull this tightly. And then I'm going to go through another stitch or two to create a half square knot. There we go. And I'm going to go one more time and kind of secure this by tying another kind of half of a square knot. And then at this point, you can either take the remainder of the tail and cut it off, or you can do what I'm about to do, which is just find a hole and stick the rest of that tail in there. So someone wanted to see half of a square knot again.
Hey,
What I
Megan,
do, yeah,
I'm sorry.
Felicia.
Before you do that, there is an excellent question
Okay.
asking, could you actually um, buy a pillow to put on the inside?
Yes, great question. Yes, if you have a round pillow form, you might need to do more than 5 rounds depending on how big your pillow form is, and then that might take more than one skein. So I'm going to go through the half of a square knot is me pulling up one of these loops, taking the tail and going through, and then I'm going to go through here and I'm going to pull, that's what I call half of a square knot. Okay. And then I'm going to put all of the rest of this yarn into the pillow itself. And on this side, you'll see that I still have a hole and I still have this tail from where I started my pillow. I have 2 tails now. I have the back side tail and I have the front side tail. So we're going to do the same thing, but before we do the drawstring on this side, this is where you want to add your floof. So if you have polyfill, I'm going to take a handful of polyfill and I'm going to put it in here. And like I said at the beginning, I like my pillows to kind of be flatter and more like a poof rather than a big ball. So I'm not going to put a ton of polyfill in because I kind of want it to have more of that flat beret-like feel to it. So if your hole, I think you're talking about a hole on the side, and I'll tell you about that in just a second. So here I put in my polyfill, I spread it out, and then I'm about to make this drawstring again. So what I'm doing with this drawstring is I'm going to go across the top, and I'm going to go and find each one of these stitches from the inside. You might need to pull it up like this. So I'm going to go from the inside towards the outside of each one of the stitches I can find here to create another like drawstring. Yeah, I'm glad that you're trying along with me. It looks like some of you are able to get this the first try. It's hard to get the first try, so feel free to come back and watch this video when it's on YouTube. I've pulled this through, and I just pull that drawstring to kind of tighten it back up. Right now it looks like the diameter of my pillow with my yarn and my stitches is about 10, 11 inches is the diameter of the one that I've just done with 5 rounds. So if you want your pillow to be even larger, you should do more than 5 rounds. I have this tail. I'm going to do that trick I showed you before again of pulling up a loop and then using this to make half of a square knot to kind of secure that. Yeah, and if you have orange yarn, you have a pumpkin. Absolutely, and we definitely will be making pumpkins later. So I'm going to take the rest of this and I'm going to kind of tuck it in to the rest of the pillow. You could cut it off also if you don't want to mess with tails. And then someone asked about, you have some really large stitches on the side that you're worried about with the fluffing. So let me show you what you can do with that. Your stitches on the sides are going to be wide, and they're wide on purpose because that's how we were able to get this shape. But if you're worried about them being too wide, there are some ways to fix that. So I'm going to take some scrap yarn I have from the skein, and you can take a stitch that seems extremely big, and you can literally just tie those together with a square knot if you want that stitch to be less visible. And then I can just cut this down on either side. And you can't really tell that I just did that, but it's going to keep that stitch a little bit nicer for you. So you're welcome to come back through here with some extra yarn to kind of connect some of those together if you don't really like that big stitch on the end. And also somebody suggested before a pillow form. So a pillow form is going to keep you from having any stuffing come out too with some of those wider stitches on the side. So now is the time to attach our ears. So if you have your ears from before, you can decide where you want them. If you want them to flop down, if you want them to flop up. A pillow form is literally a pillow that's already sewn into something. So it's not just the fluffy inside part, it's an actual pillow that's already sewn together with the fluffy stuff inside of it. So we didn't use a pillow form, we used what's called polyfill, which is fluffy and can come out. But a pillow form, a dog or somebody couldn't pull that fluff out, or they could try. So here are the 2 ears, and I have a tail, so you can decide which side you want. And this ear is going to go through some of those larger stitches again, like we were showing before. And you're really just going to tie this ear on. So I just took the tail and slipped it through 2 loops. And then I'm going to take the tail and go through one of the ear loops to kind of attach that together. It's kind of like you're sewing this ear on and you're making knots to kind of keep it secure. And you can go through as many different stitches as you'd like. And you can go through stitches on both the ear and on the face in order to kind of attach that ear together. That's adorable. I love that. And then once you feel like it's pretty secure and you've tied a couple of knots and you feel pretty good about it, you can cut it down, or you can weave that tail in. And then you will still have another end. So you can decide if you want this, if you want to cut this down, or if you want to just weave this into the rest of it. That's kind of up to you. I'm going to do a little bit of both. I'm going to tie another knot, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. So that's me attaching that ear. And then I have my second ear, and you can decide, do you want this thicker row to be the same as this one? Do you want it to be opposite? Do you want it to be so both the thick rows are on the outside? Do how you would like it to be. And you're going to just attach this again by maybe going through 2 of the loops on one of the sides and pulling. I'm actually going to use this side because I have a longer tail to work with. So I'm going to pull it through, and I'm going to tie a knot. And then I'm going to take the yarn and go through the ear somewhere to kind of make it more secure, and then come through the loops. So your ears will flop pretty much automatically, no matter which way you do it. If you want the ears to stay straight up, I would recommend maybe some wire, but then of course it's not going to be as comfortable as a pillow. So if you want the ears to stand up, I think wire is a good idea. Otherwise, you can have some floppy ears. So I'm tying some knots through both the ear and through the face in order to kind of keep this sturdy. I'm in love too. These are really stinking adorable. And then once you feel good about that, you can go ahead and cut that off. And again, with the tail on the top of the ear, you can maybe tie another knot just to make sure that it's not going to come off. Ooh, I'm really strong. And I'm going to cut that down. Perfect. So we have our floppy eared bunny, and I love this bunny. It is so adorable. It doesn't fray. Can you believe that? This yarn is great. So now we're ready to make a fluffy bunny tail. So if you have a pom-pom maker, you can use a pom-pom maker and some thinner yarn in order to create a little bunny tail. Or I'm going to show you how to do it without a pom-pom maker. So I cut a little piece of cardboard, and this cardboard is 3 inches thick. And then I'm going to take some of this thinner yarn. And what you do in order to make this pom-pom is you're just going to start the yarn and keep wrapping it around this cardboard. I'm going to wrap it a lot because the more you wrap, the fluffier your bunny tail or bunny nose is going to be. We're going to try to get this video up on YouTube, hopefully by the end of today. But usually our policy is on Fridays. We get it up on Monday, but we'll see what we can do if we can make some magic happen. This pattern is available on my YouTube, or not on my YouTube, on my Instagram, which is 4M Coleman. It's also available on Learn with Michael's Instagram. So you're welcome to grab that pattern and try it again. Here we go. And I think that this is going to be a nice fluffy bunny tail, so I'm going to stop here. I'm going to cut a really long piece of yarn, probably almost 20 inches. And I'm going to go through here. And before I scoot it off the cardboard, I'm going to tie 1 square knot through this half of the loops. So I'm going to pull that nice and tight. I know it's white on white, so it's kind of hard to see, but I'm going to pull that nice and tight. And then I'm going to slide these off. And I have all these loops. And I'm going to take that long tail again. And I have loops on this side and on this side of that long tail. I'm going to go to the other side from where I already tied 1 knot. And I'm going to pull this nice and tight. Felicia, do you mind putting the Instagram is Learn with Michaels, and my Instagram is 4M Coleman, and the pattern is in both of those places. The 4M Coleman right now in my stories, I have how to make the slip knot and how to make the chain stitch if you need to see those parts again. So here's the really long tail. And then the most fun part about this is you're going to go back through with scissors, and you have all these loops, and you're going to cut all these loops apart. And that's going to create this awesome pom-pom effect for us. So I'm going through and I'm cutting all these loops. Here we go. And I'm going to fluff it out. I love this. It's adorable. And then I'm going to take the long pieces. This is how I'm going to attach it to the bunny's face. Shedding a little bit. And I'm going to take the rest of this pom-pom and I'm going to kind of trim it down, give it a little bit of a haircut so that it's nice and even. This is the messy part. Do this over a trash can or somewhere you can push towards the trash can. Keep those long tails, don't cut them off. If you see any loops that you might have accidentally missed, you can cut them apart at this point. And this is our fluffy bunny tail. Or you could make it in black and make it a bunny nose if you'd like. And there we have this nice pom-pom. And I'm just going to go to the center. And I'm going to pull this through. There we go. And that just attached it, but I'm definitely going to go back and make sure that I tie another knot to keep it nice and secure. I'm just pulling that nice and tight. There we go. And then I can cut that down to make those tails fit in with the rest of it. And look at that. We have a bunny pillow in an hour. I'm impressed with us. So this is absolutely adorable to give as a gift, to throw on your couch, put in an Easter basket. So this is our hand knit fluffy bunny pillow. And I am so grateful that you came to craft with us today. We'll try and get this video to you on YouTube as fast as we possibly can, but thank you for coming. We hope to see you again.
And Megan, before you, excuse me, before you sign off too fast, please know that if you do not have Instagram, again, the pattern is in the chat. So definitely scroll. I've actually put a link as well as an actual PDF. So as a matter of fact, let me go ahead and just put that PDF in there one more time.
Sure.
So if for any reason you don't have it, you can click it before we completely sign off. But also note, while I'm saying that, is that we will make sure that when the video is uploaded to our YouTube channel, that we will make sure that it is also included in our YouTube. So definitely our YouTube channel, let me put that link in as well. Give me one quick second here.
And if you've made the bunny pillow and you feel pretty good about your stitches and how you've done it with this yarn, you can switch to the fluffy Chenille, and it is so soft and so fluffy. It's so much softer than this yarn, but like I said before, it's sometimes hard to see your stitches. So if you're a beginner, you might want to start with a beginner yarn. But if you are ready for something really soft and cuddly, go ahead and switch over to that Chenille, because this fluffy Chenille is absolutely adorable. So,
Oh, real quick,
sure.
once again, before we sign off, if I do know if you're on a laptop, excuse me, if you're on a laptop and you want to save the chat, at the very bottom of your computer, you will see 3 dots. And when you hover over it, it'll say more. And once you click on more, you'll see save chat. So any of the links that I've already provided, it will save for you, that you will be able to go in and get those links again. So if you miss any of the links, once again, click on the 3 dots in the chat field, and once you hover over it, it'll say more, click save chat.
Yep. And I'm also showing you right now a hand knit heart. So if you want to try this hand knit heart, you can also find this one on YouTube. So you can go to YouTube and search Michaels, and you'll see all of our online classes, and you'll be able to find the hand knit heart with Meghan Fahey. You'll be able to find this bunny pretty soon. And we also have these blankets that I have behind me, the hand knit blankets. So you can learn how to make one of those too.
And
So
really
this
quick,
has been
Megan,
really fun. Thank you so much.
can you repeat the initial yarn that you use, or
Yep.
both yarns? If you can show them really quick before we sign off.
Sure. So the fluffy Chenille is the super, super soft bunny. It's harder to see the stitches. So if you're a beginner, you might not want to start with the fluffy Chenille. Another good option is something called Loops and Thread Cozy Blanket. And then another one is the Bernat Blanket Big. So the Bernat Blanket Big was what I used to be able to see these stitches a lot better. but the fluffy Chenille does end up with a really fluffy bunny. So it's up to you which yarn you use. But with one skein, you should be able to make the same size bunny as what I've made.
All right. Well, once again, we want to thank everyone and have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah.
Until next time. Bye.
Bye.